All right, let's talk about AI. If you've ever felt that little bit of unease, wondering what it all means for your job, your career, then you're in exactly the right place. Because today, we're going to flip that whole conversation on its head. Let's get into it. You see this quote? It's from a business owner, but honestly, it could be from anyone in any industry right now. This is a real feeling, a real fear that's just out there. And it gets right to the core of what we're talking about today.
So, yeah, let's just tackle this fear head on. It's not just in accounting, right? It's everywhere. Marketing, operations, even software development. People are looking at these incredibly powerful new AI tools and asking a very fair question. So, where do I fit into this picture now?
But here's a thought. What if we're all asking the wrong question? What if the thing we're so worried about, this big AI threat, isn't actually the technology at all? What if the real risk is something much closer to home? And boom, here it is. The real vulnerability isn't AI. It's the fact that for generations, we've been taught to see our jobs as just a list of tasks we perform. And when we define ourselves by our tasks, well, we kind of make ourselves easy to replace. So, how do we fix this? It all starts with a huge mindset shift. We have to stop thinking of ourselves as just another cog in the machine and start seeing ourselves as the person driving the whole vehicle. Just look at this comparison. It lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the task mindset. I send invoices. I post on social media. These are things, actions, that are getting easier and easier to automate. But look at the right. I manage financial health. I drive demand. That's not a task, that's an outcome. It's a role that requires judgment, strategy, and insight. And that is something AI can't just replicate. This really is the whole idea in one sentence. A cog just turns. It does its one little job over and over. But the driver has a destination. They're making decisions, navigating around roadblocks. They are in control of the journey. Let's break that analogy down even more. The tasks of driving are things like turning the wheel, pressing the gas pedal, checking your mirrors. But your role as the driver is so much bigger. It's about navigating, making judgments, responding to a car that cuts you off. The role stays the same, even when the car, the technology, changes. I mean, think about it, right? Your goal is to get from point A to point B safely. That doesn't change if you're in an old clunker or a brand new car with all the bells and whistles. In fact, better tech like cruise control doesn't make you obsolete. It makes you a better, more effective driver. And that's exactly how we need to start looking at AI. It's our professional cruise control. It can handle all the boring, repetitive stuff, the shifting gears, which frees us up to focus on the important part, steering, navigating, and actually planning the route ahead. Okay, so if our job is to be the driver, what skills do we actually need? This brings us to what I think is the most important idea for future-proofing your career. Think of it as your own personal insurance policy, and it's built on something called meta skills. So what in the world are meta skills? Well, they're not about learning one specific program or tool. They're the skills above the skills. They're these deeper, foundational abilities that allow you to learn and adapt to, well, pretty much anything. They're like the operating system for your career. And here are some of the big ones. Just look at this list. Adaptability, critical thinking, creative problem solving. These are profoundly human skills. They're all about context and nuance and judgment, things that go way beyond just processing data. And here is why this is so critical right now. Look at this number. 70%. A big study from LinkedIn found that 70% of the job skills we rely on today are going to be different by 2030. That's not far away. So the specific software you've mastered, it has a shelf life. But these meta skills, they never expire. They're what will carry you through all that change. So we have got to stop calling these soft skills. It's an outdated term. They're not soft, they're not optional. In a world where all the routine stuff gets automated, these uniquely human abilities become the absolute bedrock of your professional value. They're mandatory now. Okay, so that's the big idea. But I don't want to just leave you with theory. How do we actually put this into practice? Let's make this super simple with a 4-step action plan you can literally start on today. Here we go, 4 simple steps. First, audit your identity. Sit down and really ask yourself, do I introduce myself by my list of tasks or by the impact I have? Second, build your meta skills. Don't get overwhelmed, just pick one, like effective communication, and really focus on it. Third, stay visible and valuable. Start talking about the outcomes you create, not just the busy work you did. And fourth, the big one, be the driver. Embrace AI as your tool, your co-pilot, and use it to steer where you want to go. Which brings us right back to where we started. We've talked about the fear, we've walked through this new mindset, and we've got an action plan. So let's just be absolutely crystal clear on what the real threat to our careers actually is.
Let me say this as plainly as I can. AI is not going to take your job. It's just a tool. A ridiculously powerful tool for sure, but still just a tool. The actual danger, the thing we should really be concerned about, lies somewhere else entirely.
And that's it. That's the whole ballgame. The single biggest threat to your career in this new age is holding on to an identity that is built on a pile of automatable tasks. The future belongs to the drivers, the creative problem solvers, and the strategists. So the only question left is, which one are you going to be?